Well, it would be hard for you guys to guess where I am based on what I was saying in my episode 50. I'm sitting inside a yard in, guess what, Douglas, Arizona. Basically, I'm sitting in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and that's how the girl at the counter pronounced it. I asked her, I said, so how do you say it, Las Cruces or Las Cruces? And she looked Spanish, you know, and she said Las Cruces. I said, you ever heard anyone say Las Cruces? She almost fell on the floor laughing. She said, that's so funny, Las Cruces. She says it's a town of crosses. That's what it means, right? Anyway, so I'm having my breakfast, you know, some twisted Texas omelet. Beautiful. It's chicken and omelet all inside, you know. My phone rings and this guy says, hey, are you still available? And it's a Lancer agent. I said, are you the guy who canceled my container loan yesterday after 270 miles? He says, yeah. If you're available, they have that container. I said, what? I thought they misplaced it, or they thought they had 6, now they had 5. He says, no, they found it. The same money, same trip number. He says, if you want, I'll just basically reactivate that, and everything is good. I said, well, I'm not sure if I, you know, can trust this customer of yours, because I'm still 270 miles away, you know, like 4 hours, right? What if they cancel again? He says, no, I'm giving you a new container number. It's all basically set, so you can start driving, and I'll just confirm with them that you'll be there before 1 o'clock local time. And that's what happened. I got into the truck, started driving, and I'm somewhere right next to the Mexican border. I think it's behind those mountains over there. See the mountains? And I saw a whole bunch of customer border protection SUVs, mostly I think Chevys, like an SUV, and they were just patrolling the area next to this highway. Basically, I was coming on I-10, and then you have to take a local Highway 80, and it's pretty much straight, just a couple of minor curves, but then at one point you go around like a big hill, like a big mountain. But it's okay, it's all dry, very warm. You see, I was even outside walking like this in a t-shirt, and I was just talking to this freight broker friend of mine who's in Alberta, and he's cursing and, you know, saying that there's snow and ice everywhere. And I'm basically losing articles of my clothing. First I took off my sweatshirt, then I had to lighten up my the clothes on my lower part of the body, if you know what I mean, because it was getting too hot. And now you can walk like this. And I went inside the office, checked in with the girl that deals with Canadian loads, and I was afraid she'd say, oh, I'm sorry, your container is gone, because there's a whole bunch of trucks in here. It looks like a big warehouse, and what these guys are doing, they like a, you know, like a broker, right? Like what do they call it? Kind of like logistics company. What's the word I'm looking for? Freight forwarder. That's what it is. Freight forwarder, kind of like a big post office, right? So they store loads that come here for their customers, and then they're being shipped. And I went inside, she showed me the paperwork. Yeah, I signed, so gave her my cell number. She said it's gonna be here before 5. And I said, what do you mean? She said, oh, it's in Mexico. And when I was talking to her, it was like 1:30, and I was joking to there's another driver sitting, and I said, well, yeah, you know, Mexico, that's a very, very far away country. It takes like 4 hours to reach Arizona from Mexico. But of course there's customs, you know, there's delays, they're waiting for the paperwork, but she already has everything. Like it's going in bond. Basically the shipper on the paperwork is all Mexican, right? And actually that's one trick. When people ask me, see some guys are hauling pipe here. When people ask me why don't I get U.S. you know, ability to haul loads inside U.S. That's, first of all, that's too difficult. But secondly, here's one example where I don't need to be a US resident. Like if a load comes into Canada from Mexico, no, that's the wrong example. Let's say I'm here and they have a load from Mexico going in Bond. No, wait a second, then it wouldn't be in Bond, but let's say going to Chicago, Illinois, then I'm Canadian, I'm allowed to do that because it does not, the load did not originate inside US. So, but these loads are very cheap. I was looking once on the load board, and instead of a usual destination in Canada, I said, I chose the option anywhere, you know, like US, Canada. Let's say if I put Douglas, Arizona, let's say 200 miles, and the trick is that the paperwork must show this Mexican shipper, you know, like half of those bills are in Spanish. Then and only then I'm allowed to deliver that load inside US. But as I mentioned, they're cheap. Like loads going across the border into Canada always pay much better. But of course fuel over there is crazy because of the Canadian dollar now, very cheap compared with the US dollar. A guy just told me that he saw in London, Ontario, it was $1.43 per liter. So, which of course makes our Australian viewers envious, but that's over $6 per gallon. I just fueled in where? In Las Cruces? No, wait, Albuquerque. I fueled in Albuquerque. It was like $3.79 per gallon, which is pretty much like $1 per liter. Anyway, now I just got ready, so I have my bag of tools, and I have to fix my airbags again, because of course I was driving and the road was a bit bumpy, and then I came into this yard and it's all dirt and it goes like this, and I went check on my airbags, and the front axle, the airbag, I'll show you in a second, but I really need to do something about this. Either lift an axle, or I can just install, one guy was telling me you can install little lever somewhere, either on the trailer or on the truck, so you can change the ride height of your trailer. Because I know my trailer, I have the standard 6-inch height, and once I increase it to 7, and of course the trailer sits higher, which is not too good for heavy loads, I mean for tow loads, but I stopped having problems with airbags because there was more pressure in the bags, and I mean when I'm empty. But when I was loaded I had to put it down again because the trailer was sitting kind of funny. But now I gotta do it because I think they're gonna load me somewhere over there deep inside the yard, and I see the road is all screwed up, like the terrain here. So if I leave it at the standard height and I fix it now, I fix that bag now, I'll just inflate it and then deflate it. By the time I reach my container loading place, I'll have another boo-boo again. So I think I'm gonna undo those little bolts and increase the height to 7. But it's pretty labor intensive because there's not enough space in there. So that's what I'm thinking. I'll just try to find a good trailer shop and install that thing where I can change my ride height without doing anything with the bolts. Or another tip, one guy, another Lancer guy gave me, he said install a switch, like you see here my dashboard. I got this trailer auxiliary on off. Now it's off, and I remember when I was pulling a tandem flatbed for McKinnon in Guelph, Ontario, Canada, and I tried that switch. I just flipped it on and I went to see what was happening with the trailer, and turns out that switch kills airbags on the last axle, you know. But I tried it now with this trailer, it does not work. So I guess I already have the switch, it just has to be connected properly. So basically what I want to do is, because I have such a large spread, 12 feet, like that's what this guy gave me a tip. He says it might not, like a lift axle is not going to work too well again because of this big spread. I'm going to damage the tires when the trailer goes like this, when I'm driving empty. But he says you can do this, at least you can save tires when you're doing, you know, sharp turns or when you're backing. So you can just flip the switch, of course making sure that you don't overload the remaining 2 axles, but at least this way I could save tires. So that's what I would do. 2 things: the lever to automatically adjust ride height, and the kill switch to quickly drain the airbags. on the last axle. But that's coming next after I do this engine modification, because we are still on, because I'll be passing through Michigan. So a week from now I'm hoping I'll be doing, I don't know, 7 miles per gallon. We'll see. But let me show you those airbags. And I'm getting ready for that container, so I had my tarps in here on the lower deck, so I moved them over here because they said it's gonna be a 40-foot long container. Then of course I'm gonna use my dunnage, but see this? That doesn't look too good. And the funny thing is that that's all one piece. This airbag, it's all part of this. It's like first time when I discovered this, I thought I had a broken airbag, right? And then I found that it just, when it jumps up, it doesn't have enough time to inflate because of the low ride height. That's why now I'm gonna put the air, go up, it'll go up, it'll go down in here, and then I'm gonna deflate it, but then I'm gonna increase the ride height. You can see how that one is? Beautiful. Now let's check other axles, because sometimes the rear one goes back too, goes bad. Oh, this is fine. Alright, now I have to climb in here somewhere. See? Oh, we have to get some something to put on the ground. It's all dirt. I'll look as a miner. No. Okay, I did one screw. See? Now I'm gonna. Where is it? Can you see it? Now we lift it. Okay. Now we should be good till the next time, right? But to prevent this problem, now we're gonna undo these two bolts in here and raise it. And it's done. After working in this very uncomfortable environment, I managed to basically lift that thing by one hole and retighten the bolts. Hopefully I'm not going to do it again. Now I'm going to have, I think, about 7-inch ride height. Well, it's 3 o'clock local time, and in case the lady inside lost my phone number, because she wrote it on a tiny piece of paper, you know, a sticky, I called her. She's the only one that deals with Canadian shipments, so you get like the receptionist, and of course she answers in Spanish. I see. I said, can I talk to the girl that deals with Canadian shipments, container? And they know right away, so they transfer me, and I said, this is Sergey, a Landstar trucker waiting for a container. And she says, no, it's not ready. I said, how do you know we're talking about the same container? And she says, you're the only one waiting. I said, what's going on? And she says, oh, it'll be here tomorrow. So wait a second, you told me it'll be here before 5. Oh, they're having some trouble with customs on the border. Call me at 4. All right. And then this guy calls me, the broker, the Landstar agent. She says, oh, I'm a partner with the guy, with this other guy. There's 2 of them, I think, work in the same office. Probably that's the broker, like the owner, and then the other one was just salesperson, like a dispatcher. And this guy apologized for the load being canceled yesterday, and he says, "Are you loaded?" I said, "No." That's like, you know, typical trucking thing, you know, you rush, and then you wait. But it's an interesting place, you know. You gotta watch all these trucks, and a lot of them they have like nice, you know, lots of older trucks, like even older than mine. A guy next to me just picked up a load of oversized huge tires. I like his bumper. Like, his bumper looks brand new, and it's has a slight angle at the bottom. It's like probably 20 inches. And you see, that's a Freightliner Classic. So he put on brand new flags. I wonder how long those will last on the road. And then over there we have lumber. That's usually a very cheap freight. It's funny that ever since I joined Landstar, I have not hauled a single piece of lumber. But when I was at the Canadian company, McKinnon, and they mostly run flatbed, it was lumber. You know, lumber in the morning, lumber in the afternoon, lumber in the I was trimming lumber. Sometimes I was afraid I would go to the bathroom and there would be lumber left in there, you know. And it was very cheap. And then there's a guy there. It's probably too far to see on the camera, but there's a blue Freightliner Classic. Check out the wheelbase. It's hooked up to a trailer, and the wheelbase, I don't know, over 300 inches for sure. But lots of Freightliners. So it's an interesting place to be at. You know? And here's many people's favorite, Kenworth Terminator 900. Well, looks good. D&R Trucking, Douglas, Arizona. Hooked up to a very old looking Fontaine trailer with a short spread tandem. Well, I decided to go for a walk. I'm tired sitting in the truck, and it's 4 o'clock already. I just talked to the Veronica, the lady inside the office, a very cute Spanish lady. And she called someone, and she says it's basically the border. But that's, see, the border crossing takes so long, so much time. And they said it can cross in maybe 10-15 minutes, but she does not know if they will release the container. Maybe they'll pull it in the customs warehouse. You never know, right? So, and plus these guys here, my truck is inside the yard, but because this is kind of like probably they have lots of stuff inside there, so they have a gate. And I saw that I knew I had to ask. I said, "What time do you close the gate?" Because the gate is all around. If I'm late now, I'm just going for a walk, right? There was a McDonald's somewhere here, because there's nothing to eat. There's water, and you can probably find tequila somewhere here, but basically I have to get back before 5, otherwise I won't be able to get inside my truck. And this is like a typical, you know, Mexican or southern US picture. Lots of garbage, dirt trees. People live in very tiny houses. And the border from here is only, I checked on Google Maps, if I keep walking on this street, in 3 kilometers, or less than 2 miles, I'll be at the crossing with Mexico. I've been closer, but I think once, and I was just passing. Like, feels really weird. Check out the sign, 191 South. If you take that one, you'll get directly to Mexico. Well, I found a small restaurant, Mexican restaurant, not too far from the place where my truck is right now. And I'm getting a burrito. What else do you eat here? I'll show you guys the sides, how it looks. I'm the only customer. but it's already 4:20 local time PM. Well, I'm carrying my burrito in this huge shopping bag. I can only guess the size. These guys and girls, they're very lavish with beef, you know, they don't go cheap. But this was more expensive, like just a burrito with a drink, 10 bucks. But it was interesting to talk to this girl. I asked her if it's dangerous to go into Mexico. Like I said, can I go for a walk? And she says, I don't recommend it. She says there's a war going on right now between two cartels on that side. And she says local residents in the Mexican side are advised to stay indoors after 3 p.m. And they're not kidding. And I said, what's gonna happen if, let's say, I walk over there like a white guy? What are they gonna do? Kidnap me? She says, they can kill you. I said, for no reason? She says, yeah, that's what they do. They just kill people for no reason. And over here it's all nice, all US, but somewhere over there, that's where the danger is lurking. And they have army, Mexican army. Weird. And it's all because of drugs. So kids, please, do not do drugs. Now here's a great business idea. You buy cans of, what is it, beer? You drink it and then you sell it for 65 cents a pound. It's, what is it, 4.40. Just talked to Veronica in the office. She called again the border. And they said it's going through customs right now. So the container is getting closer. So while we're waiting for the container, Jesus. Look at this. Huh. I didn't ask for this. What is this? Oh, some nice nacho sauce. Check this out. That's why it was expensive, because it was not just a burrito, basically. And this was, you know, like a real restaurant. See, they gave me napkins, you know. Alright, how big is the burrito? That's what I want to know. Okay. It's not one of those, that's what it looks like. That don't look too good, but... So there's a burrito with beef, a little bit of rice, and then they give you this with some cheese. Oh, it's all basically on the outside. But, you know, normally I try not to eat this, right? You guys know. Try to eat less carbs, but what do you do in a situation like this? You gotta eat, you gotta use the instinct of self-preservation. Oh, and there was a Coke as well. So all this was 10 bucks. A Coke and chips, tortillas. Oh, and she says, do you need a fork or spoon? And I was buying a burrito, that's what I thought, right? I said no. Now how am I supposed to eat the rice and the beans with no fork? I think I'll use my hand, yeah. Because my feet are, I got sneakers on, so should be okay. Alright, so this was day one. I don't want to again bore you guys to death. And this will be the beginning of the new era, episode 51. Sorry for the false alarm, but you know, I really wanted to stop these, but turns out I'm addicted as well. You know, I gotta make them. Especially when you have something to say, like show you guys the burrito, right? Because this is important. You gotta know this stuff. Because, you know, if you sit in the office somewhere in New York or Manhattan or Germany, you have no idea what 10 bucks buys you in Douglas, Arizona when you go to a burrito restaurant. You see, now you know. So it's all very important knowledge, and I'm here to spread it. So as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep making. And one more thing, 10 minutes to 5, the container shows up on a truck, which I saw before at the same yard, and they just used 2 forklifts. So it's a huge container, extended height probably 8 feet, but it's 40 feet long. and we put it real close here. So the guy says, oh, normally people don't use this, we just put it on the deck. Okay, well, that's not gonna happen today, I can tell you that. The only problem is, I guess that's why they don't put it on there, because you see what's happening here? Because I did not notice that. I thought the floor was kind of level, but instead it has these cross members, you know, and there's lots of weight. Like they say that the actual the load inside the container is only weighs 9,000 pounds. Oh, see, in one spot I got lucky. I put it right under the cross member, but Jesus. See over there, there's even a, I can see light under the dunnage. Basically it just sits on the... What? This one sits on one side. Jesus. See, and I wanted to put another timber in here, but this is too tall. This is more than 4 inches. But what do you do? I think I'll just, that's what I'll do. I'll just put a chain through here. I have these here. Just put a chain to make sure that this thing does not... What is this? Everything's open. Jesus. They didn't give me any keys, nothing. It's a bit, everything is a bit careless, you know. But it's been a while since I know. I don't think that I ever had a container like this. Now if I close it, I gotta close it, right? Otherwise someone can get in. Welcome, because otherwise they might come undone. I saw it happen before when that thing at the top does not sit properly inside that little receiver, and the sun is already down. See over there in the distance. We're gonna stop here, stay here till morning. Just a quick PPS, postscriptum, in case you never hold the container. So I just used straps. How many timbers I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And basically what I learned is that on a load like this, it's good to position the strap as close as possible to the timber that the weight sits on. Otherwise it might start moving, you know. See, everywhere I have straps, they're relatively close. And one thing I found is that the front part of this thing has actually beams in the middle. So at least this, the most important front and rear, this one supports the weight, because there's beams that go alongside. It's a very light container, so I'm not too worried. So I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straps. See how close I put it in here? So this is good. 5 straps, and then in the back I put a chain like this. See, around the pocket, and in the hole it goes, and then the binder, and the same thing here, because I'm a bit worried that probably there's nothing in there, because this part went up. Normally something like this you do in the front, but I got lucky this time. My boss Sergie gave me a step deck trailer, and of course step deck trailers, at least the ones made in Cadiz, Kentucky, have this, we call the drop, right? So that's why I didn't put anything in here, because where would it go, you know? But that's it. Finally, that's the last thing I wanted to show you guys, and day one, finita.